Well, I'd like to welcome all of you. For some of us, it's the morning. For our guests in India, it's a bit later. But in any case, welcome everyone to this webinar, Business Opportunities in Peru and India for Textile Machinery and Accessories, and organized both by ITAMMA, Peru, and by ITAMMA. Today we're going to have three speakers speaking on the subject. We're going to have from Peru, Ms. Magali Simon. She's Director of ITAMMA Peru and owner of Texpima. We're then going to have Mr. Balaji speaking about the Indian Textile Engineering Industry and its scope in Peru. Mr. Balaji is Chairman of Events and Publications Subcommittee of ITAMMA, and he is Head of Marketing at Lakshmi. He is a very experienced professional. And lastly, we're going to have Mr. Prashant Gandhi. He's past President and Mentor of Global Competitiveness Subcommittee at ITAMMA, and is partner at Sam Rudy Engineering and Managing Partner at CD Engineers. But before we go deep into this subject and have this, what I expect to be a very interesting and useful question. So we're going to have our first speaker for today. But before that, I'd like to announce as well that after speaker presentations, we're going to have some time for questions. So please feel free to post them on the chat, and we will have time for questions. So to begin our very important presentations today, we're going to have Ms. Magali Simons. Magali Simons is Director of ITAMMA Peru and owner of Texpima. She's going to be talking about the status of the textile accessories and machinery in Peru today. So without further ado, please, Ms. Magali Simons, go ahead.
Hello everyone. Good morning in Lima. Good evening in India. I'm so glad that I can have this opportunity to present in the business opportunities in Peru and India for textile machinery accessories webinar. As you know, Peru is a very important country, well known for his lawns and fabrics since ancient times, where cultures like Baraxca, Nazca, Wari, Chancay, among others, highlighted for the creativity, color, and passion they show in their work, millennial legacy that we still continue practicing today. Among Peru's flagship products, we produce the world's finest cotton variety Tanguis and Pima cotton, which are highly recognized all over the world for its long fiber and its exquisite quality. We are recognized as well in Peru for our advantage in textile integration, varieties. We are also recognized for this and the production chain, starting with the fiber up to the yarn and fabrics. We go from there to the manufacturing of garments with high quality standards and handmade finishing. I want to explain that Peru is a country of 31 million people, and where 1.4 million people is related direct or indirect to the textile business. Direct labor represents 27% of the current economy population. Textile represents 7% of our gross domestic product in the industry, in our sector, and 1.7 of the total gross of the domestic product. So we are a very important part of our country industry. We do work with local production, and we also import fibers like cotton, synthetics, and luxury yarns from other countries, being India one of the most important suppliers for Peru. The yarn and textiles we import are manufactured in Peru for local market and as well for export the goods. As I can show you now in this slide, we count with around 57,742 textile companies divided into small, medium, large, in the different textile business chains divided in different activities. And you can see here how we are divided. So almost the biggest part of is the micro company that we have the 95.8 people working here in Peru in micro companies. We do have the small companies that represent 3.7%, and the mediums and big mediums and big 0.5. As you can see, we must point your offer, your Indian offer of machinery, not just to the big companies, but we have to point and see the opportunity and the chance to offer machinery to all this chain of opportunities in Peru, especially the micro, small companies. I see that we can have a good opportunity here to introduce a huge variety of machinery for accessories, for trims, for making every accessory we can use into the garment industry and for all the chain. Now I want to pass to this second slide. Well, in Peru, as you know, we import machinery from many parts of the world, different areas of textile change, and some of the machinery from different brands and countries which are used in Peru are, for example, in spinning. We have the Rieter from Switzerland that have facilities in China and India at the moment. We used to use Marsoli from Italy. In weaving, we used to use Marsoli, Italy, Mayer, Germany, Monarch, Chile. For the dyeing process, we have the Barsoli from Italy, Massio, USA. In the finishing, one of them is the Ferraro. In manufacturing, we have plenty brands like Yuki, Yamato, Pegasus, Kintex. And other services, we do other services like embroidery, printing, cutting. Some of the machinery in embroidery are the ITAMMA, SWF, Melco. In printed, we use the Epson for the digital, Cosmotex from Spain. In cutting, we normally use Eastman. So all this machinery can be found in Lima. With the different distributors, we can find some of the spare parts in the local market, but not every. So as far as I see, we don't count with Indian machinery, and I see that we have a big chance. I will pass to the next slide. As you can see in this information, India is one of the most important countries, suppliers for Peru. As we can see in this first diapositive, for example, India is in the first position for the yarn import, competing with some other countries, but India have the first position. If we pass to the fabric as well, to wool yarns and fine head yarns, India continue being in the first position. In this third frame, we can see that India is in the second position in the import of fabrics. So we import fabrics from India, and India is, as I say, in the second position. beside China, and then United States. And in the fourth frame, we have the textiles import. Textiles in general, textiles import. We have China in the first position. So as we can see here, as you can see, China is a very important country for us. We can become a very important partner to India. A very important partner to India in different kind of machinery, and not just the machinery we used to work at the moment that is important, that is in the spinning area. Textile industry in Peru has demonstrated a constant growth in the last few years, and its international growth is based on the competitive advantage we offer compared to other countries, such as our high quality and the prestige of our Peruvian fibers. As my friend Rohit said, we are located in a very strategic location in Peru, position. We are a hub. We have around here, we have almost facilities to get to different countries. And we can become a hub for India in this kind of business for machinery, for Indian machinery. We think that being India, one of the most important textile sourcing countries in the world, can give us an important support in the textile change, offering us your technology in the different areas, introducing your machinery, and work with you for new opportunities of investment and joint venture with Peruvian partners. That's it. I thank you, all of you, Gabriel, Julia, Jorge, that organized this webinar, and of course to Shah, Balaji, Gandhi, and Rohit that are here, and hope that this presentation can be a first step for a big opportunity in the next future. Thanks, all of you.
We have for you Mr. Balaji, who is Chairman of Events and Publication Subcommittee at ITAMMA, and is Head of Marketing at Lakshmi Ring Travelers. Welcome, Mr. Balaji.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gabriel. And I would like to thank all our Peruvian friends for waking up so early and joining us today. And thanks for all the organizers for arranging for this particular webinar. And as Mr. Rohit was saying, these whatever we talk today will be taken and translated into Spanish and then probably put in with various chambers in Peru, so that he could bring in the whatever we are speaking in this webinar. Okay, so let me. Okay, so can you see the presentation?
Yes,
okay, so,
yes. Yeah, we can see it.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll be briefly talking about the Indian textile engineering industry and what are the opportunities for Peru and the Indian investors and the manufacturers to basically exchange and do business together. So that is what I'll be focusing on. So very quickly, I'll just run through the textile engineering industry in India, what it consists of. So as you all know, that engineering industry is very strong in India, and in the engineering and the capital goods sector, textile engineering industry is one of the most important component, as we all know. So the textile engineering industry has contributed substantially over the last 6 decades in providing state-of-the-art modern machinery to different segments of the textile industry. So like the earlier speakers have told, we will focus here not only on the large costly equipments, but also various parts and accessories which probably India is very, very strong. So we will be talking about that in the future slides. So this industry, textile engineering industry, we are exporting to approximately 35% to the world market. So 65% is consumed in-house. So it's a big industry in India where we have over 3,000 machinery and equipment manufacturing units and over 1,400 producing complete machinery and 1,200 parts and accessories and about 400 traders and dealers. So probably ITAMMA will be a gateway for Peruvian companies to identify good manufacturers of these machinery parts and accessories. So anyone who wants to procure any of these equipments, probably India will be the window to introduce all these companies to the industry in Peru. So the manufacturers of parts and accessories cater to the original equipment manufacturers, textile mills, and for export. So most of these accessories and parts manufacturers in all the sectors like spinning, weaving, processing, knitting are mainly from the SME sector. As Ms. Gabrielle was mentioning, we have a very strong small and medium scale industries, and that is where I think majority of the business is going to happen between India and Peru. So the industry produces a wide range of machinery in India, as we all know, and ginning, spinning, weaving, processing, dyeing and finishing. So most of the OEMs of these sectors, the global OEMs are also present in India. Like in the spinning line, as Gabrielle was talking about Ritter having their offices and their factories in India. Like that, we have factories of Toyota, Marzoli, Zinzer. So all these people, since they are based in India, they are all sourcing all the components, parts, accessories from India for all these machinery suppliers. So they have developed, and these parts are available for the global market now, which most of the manufacturers today are doing. So we have almost more than 60-70 companies in India in these different segments of processing, weaving and spinning in particular, who are probably world leaders as far as their products which they are manufacturing. So the capacity creation and technology levels in the textile engineering industry has been largely influenced by the spinning sector. So as I told, spinning is a strength as far as India is concerned. And in India, we have approximately around 48 million spindles. So, and almost around 20-22% of the yarn is being exported. And one of the markets is also Peru, which we all know about it. So, out of which probably around today in the post-COVID situation today, most of the spinning mills are reopening now, and in India already around 15 million spindles have started to operate at this moment out of the 47 million spindles, and probably in the next 1 or 1.5 months, probably another 70-80% of them will reopen in the post-COVID scenario. So the installed production capacity of the industry is estimated at $2 billion, and 50% of it is met for the domestic demand, and the rest are being exported as of now. So as we all know, textile industry employs over 2.5 lakh workers. This is only in the textile engineering industry which I'm talking about, and it has been growing over the years. So this is a small chart which gives the strength of the Indian textile engineering industry. So in spinning and allied machines, in Indian rupees, 3,625 crores of machineries are being manufactured related to spinning and allied machines. In synthetic filament yarn and machines is approximately around 400 crores. Weaving and allied machines is 890 crores. Processing machines is around 750 crores. The miscellaneous machines is around 25 crores. Testing, measuring instruments is around 165 crores. hosiery machines and needles are around 85 crores. Spares and accessories for everything, which is the main focus here, is approximately around 925 crores, out of which probably around 15 to 20% today is being exported. So we have a very robust and strong textile engineering industry in India presently. So why should we do business with India and with the Indian textile engineering industry? So as I told you earlier, one of the main reasons is we have volumes and we know the parts very well because we have already been supplying to major OEMs which are based in India and who have helped us in improving our quality, and also the prices will be very, very competitive since we have the volumes to offer to the major OEMs. So most of the Indian accessories and parts manufacturers not only supply to Indian OEMs, but they also supply to their OEMs in Germany or in Switzerland or to various suppliers around the world. So today, most of the suppliers from India are doing it in more than 40 countries, in Indonesia, in Vietnam, where they could replace the parts which is actually supplied by the original OEM can be very easily supplied by Indian suppliers at a very competitive cost with a very good quality levels. Same case for Peru also. I think there are already a lot of suppliers from India in various fields who are already doing a good business in Peru. Secondly, obviously value for money offerings. Mr. Rohit, hit it on the nail, very clearly mentioning that India is in between China and Europe and Japan as far as the cost is concerned. But the quality is also second to none. I would say that there are many companies in India who are comparable to the products which are manufactured in Europe. So that is where ITAMMA's role comes in, because in any country you will have, in China or in India or in most of the countries, you will have very good companies, you will have average companies, and you may have companies which may not be of a good quality. This is applicable in any country like India or China. But when you go through ITAMMA, obviously we can supply and we can identify a good product so that it can be given with some certification and also with some value as far as the markets are concerned. So obviously we have substantial volumes, as I mentioned, so we can supply in good numbers. Quality, many of us are on par with European counterparts. Lead times are definitely lower because most of us have stocks and we have the volume, since the lead times are definitely lesser. Flexible payment terms. Yes, this is one thing where I think all the Indian friends have to be focusing on as far as the post-COVID scenario goes. If it is going to be a capital machinery running into millions of dollars, then Exim Bank offers credit, and almost 80% of funding for the project is done by the Exim Bank if it is presented properly to the Exim Bank, and the repayment is in 10 to 15 years. So this is being done today. This is as far as the spinning machinery and things of that, weaving machineries or high value goods are concerned. If it is parts and accessories, today LCs are available for 6 months or 9 months at site. So if probably our friends in Peru can assure us that these are good companies and you can supply them with flexible payment options with LCs, but not at site, but LCs with 6 months up to 9 months today is possible. So we need to be flexible for this. Our money is safe. So this can be possible in future, and we need to focus more on this. And this will be a game changer for people to buy from India rather than from China. Obviously, we have abundant raw material which helps us reduce the costs. So this will be one advantage why we are supplying our goods at a good value. And many of the Indian manufacturers have joint ventures and technical collaborations with European counterparts. So once upon a time, or still continuing, so the quality levels are pretty good. So you take any product like a ring traveler, or you take up any product like cots and aprons, or it could be any heels, reeds, or anything of that sort. There are many companies in India who have who have or had tie-ups with the best in the world, and today they have taken that advantage and are manufacturing goods with very good quality at economical prices. So coming to the opportunities available in the post-COVID era, just because of the opportunity in the medical field which has arisen, there are many manufacturers in India who have developed machines for manufacturing these masks, N95, N98, cloth masks, gloves, PPE kits. All these are today available, and the information about this is available with Mr. Matre also. So I wouldn't like to go into who is doing it at this moment, because we wouldn't like to promote any company out here, which is not good. But if anybody is interested in putting up some plans for manufacturing these gloves or PPE kits or masks and things like that, could contact Mr. Matre, and he could give the details of those companies to them to take it forward. But these are available in India today. So this need not be imported only from China. If people are interested in probably importing the finished products, it is also possible. Today, cloth masks, there is no restriction for export. But N95 and the other masks, yes, there is a restriction to export as of now from the Indian government. But shortly, within a few months, I think they are going to open that up for sure. But India has started manufacturing in big numbers, all types of masks, gloves, face shields, goggles. Like Mr. Prashant Gandhi was mentioning, all these products mostly are done by the companies who are in the textile field. The companies who are already in the accessories business, in the machinery business, have diversified in the last 2-3 months once the coronavirus hit. And they have also started to manufacture these masks, gloves, face shields, goggles, etc. Like Mr. Modi was also mentioning in all his speeches, like the PPE kits, where India was producing 0 numbers before 3 months. Today we manufacture more than 3 lakh pieces per day. So this is the sort of increase which we have done because of Corona, and it is available now. So if anybody wants to have these products, some of these products, yes, have restriction for export as of now, but it will be lifted, I think, in the next few months once India becomes self-sufficient with these items like PPE kits, coveralls, ventilators. Because ITAMMA members, I know more than 50-60 members in ITAMMA itself are manufacturing all these items like ventilators, there's automatic hand sanitizing dispensers, alcohol-based sanitizers, all types of disinfectants they manufacture. So all this is manufactured by our ITAMMA members and others as well in India. IR thermometers. So all these probably are possible to be imported into Peru. Probably today, most of it must be coming from China. So this is a graph by the Indian government. These are the main manufacturers who are presently doing these products which I mentioned, which is the Trident Group, JCT, Sai Synergy, Frontier, Protective Gear. So the clusters are basically in the south from Coimbatore, Tirupur. Another cluster is there in the west with Arvind, Welspun and Aditya Birla Group. And another cluster is in the north with Trident, JCT and SCG Enterprises. These are the big companies. Apart from this, you have n number of smaller companies manufacturing all these products. So all these data is available with ITAMMA, and we could share it probably whenever it is required. So textile exports and clothing exports to Peru, if you see, from 2014 onwards, this blue line represents the yarn. So yarn, and then we have the next is home textiles, fiber, fabrics and apparel. So yarn is a major component of export into Peru. So as you can see, it is growing year on year since 2014. This year it is expected to be approximately around $181 million of export of yarn itself, followed by home textiles, fiber, fabric and apparel. So a lot of exports in the textile field, as Gabriel already told, is already happening. So because of which, what we can do is, especially if it is going to be a bigger investment, it makes a lot of sense for Peruvian investors to come to India to set up some sort of spinning mills or weaving units or anything which is of interest to them. But I would say spinning mills definitely is of much interest to the Peruvian industry, because already a lot of yarn is getting exported and the cost of producing yarn is much cheaper in India when compared to Peru. Because of which I see a lot of interest. A lot of my friends in Peru also have told me that probably they would like to take up some mills on lease here or put up a small spinning mill here. So that is what I am hearing from many people. In fact, our agent in Peru who was there has a spinning mill in India, who is exporting yarn from that spinning mill into Peru. And he also has a small unit in Peru also. So I see a lot of opportunities in spinning for this particular purpose. And apart from spinning, obviously the other areas are also available in embroidery, in apparel and things of that sort, if people are interested. So obviously, why should we choose Peru? I mean, there are so many South American countries to do business with. Obviously, Peru is very, very important because one of the main reasons is they are part of the Andean Trade Preference Act. So they have preference agreements with the US for a variety of products. So if you want to access the US market, one of the routes can be through Peru also. So they have the rates of duties are lesser due to this ATPA, which is today there. And as Ms. Gabriel was saying, they have very good qualities of cotton, Pima varieties, very fine for fine counts is very good. For coarse counts, they have Tangui. So a lot of yarn exports from India is already happening there. Economy is very, very stable. So if somebody wants to put up some industry in Peru for apparel and things like that and export to all the nearby countries like Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, these are countries, all the neighbors of Peru. I mean, they can do a very, very good job. So this is also possible. Like Mr. Rohit is also part of the pharma industry. So auto and pharma is from India. They are doing extremely well in Peru. Like Bajaj Auto, I hear, is one of the prominent two-wheeler suppliers in Peru from India. In pharma, many companies are there in Peru. So there are a lot of opportunities for Indian investors also to get into Peru. And as Mr. Rohit was also mentioning, serve the other countries which are near Peru, as well as the export into US. So it will be very helpful. So thank you very much, and probably I'll leave it to Ms. Gabriel to take it forward from here.